Hello and welcome to the Digital Digest, your weekly breakfast of insights, tips and tricks and general information that will help anyone trying to move things forward in this digital world of accounting. This show is brought to you by Digital Disruptors and SP Digital, both of which are trying to push the boundaries in this digital accounting space. I'm your host, Ryan Piercy, and this episode is dedicated to recognising the digital disruptors, those that are, pioneering, making a bit of a difference in the space, nominated by you lot, not by us. So I'm lucky enough to be joined by Alan Broome from, I probably will mispronounce this because I mispronounce anything, but Acumenica. Oh, there you go. Is that how you pronounce it?
That's perfect. Well done.
Perfect. Great. Yeah, we're going to kind of dive in a bit about Alan, what he's doing in the space and how he's making a difference. So look, Alan, first, if you can give us a quick introduction and a little bit of background on you, that'd be great.
Sure. Alan Broome, as you know, I'm the practice manager, director, runner of Acumenica. We're based up in central Scotland in a little industrial town called Grangemouth, which is kind of set right in between Edinburgh and Glasgow. Predominantly, we're involved with contractors, consultancies, freelancers and so forth. But we also do a little with the hospitality industry. We do a wee bit in construction, which isn't something that we really enjoy doing, but it's something that we tend to do anyway, and a wee bit in health and beauty just because of a couple of clients that we've inherited. So that's us. We started about maybe 15 years ago, and we've obviously been through the IR35 traumas and COVID and what have you. But last couple of years have been pretty good, and we've managed to get back to pre-COVID levels because that's what everybody says. But for us, it's pre-IR35 rule changes levels. So just looking at our figures, our year end was 31st of March, and looking at it last year, we hit the targets that we did in 2019. So we're back there. So
great. And how many people are in Acumenica? How many of them are you?
We're small but imperfectly formed. There's 7 of us.
Oh, 7, cool. And look, it makes complete sense to me that you're in the health and beauty space. I can imagine you've got a lot of experience in that.
You can tell by looking at me that I'm a regular at the salon.
Just like myself.
A bit like yourself, Ryan. Yep.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm expecting a second child, and basically we found out it was a boy at the weekend, and my wife was like, "Oh, you're going to have to take him to the salon because I'm going to have no idea what to do." I'm like, "What do you think? Why do you think I'm going to know what to do?" I stopped going 20 years ago.
Well, funnily enough, my wife's a hairdresser, and I'm a wee bit further down the line than you. My oldest son's 27, and he's in Brooklyn now. He stays in Brooklyn, and he had to go for his first haircut just before Christmas there, and he was a bit traumatized about the whole process because he'd never been in a hairdresser's before. So
his first haircut at 27.
Well, his mum's a hairdresser, so his first visit to a salon rather than his first haircut. No, that would be.
I was imagining someone with incredibly long hair.
No, not quite.
Look, one of the reasons you're on here, Anna, is that you've been nominated as a digital disruptor. And what I like to ask people is, is what they think that means and why they think they've been nominated. So I'm going to put it out to you. What do you think it is to be a digital disruptor, and why you?
Well, you've kind of got me on that one. If I'm being perfectly honest, I don't believe that I'm especially a digital disruptor. I don't feel like I'm a disruptor or anything. Certainly, we run a digital firm with a human edge, and we do use as much tech as we possibly can. But in terms of a disruptor, well, I don't know. I mean, is it difficult to be a disruptor in the accounting space anyway? I mean, we're traditionally quite traditional. So being a disruptor doesn't present too much of a problem. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that I'm a disruptor as such. I don't do anything cutting edge, but we just do everything as good as we can.
Yeah, well, look, I think most people that come on don't, I guess, look at themselves as disrupting, and that can be in many different ways. It can be, from how you approach the work with your clients, doing it differently, how you kind of use tech to do it, or just actually your presence on social media and the influence that you, have over those. And I think,
Okay.
what I've seen is definitely the social media side. I know you're very present, and that your approach and your down to earth nature on LinkedIn. So
Yeah.
when did you start that? How long ago did you kind of start, being quite honest on LinkedIn?
Forthright is the word you're looking for,
Yes.
I think, Ryan. It was never part of a strategy. It was something that's happened by accident. I've got to say, I guess maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I really don't know the timing on it. But I've been on LinkedIn like most of us for maybe 10 years or something. Fairly inactive and being just the usual boring. Oh look, it's the tax year end. If you're interested in this, blah blah. Like everybody. So I mean, if you say the same as everybody else, nobody realises that you say it. And if you don't say the same as everybody else, i.e., you don't make this is the budget update and the remember to change your tax code, all that frankly boring nonsense. If you don't say that, nobody notices that you don't say it anyway. So what's the point of saying it, basically? So we stopped saying that, and then I noticed that as my connection figures grew, my responses to I kind of had a strategy that you say two business two business posts, if you like, business advice posts, one personal post, and one social proof post, and that seemed to be working. But it was the personal posts that the nonsense that was getting the most interest, the most feedback, and that's all right. I mean, there's vanity metrics that can be of interest to you. How many likes you get is irrelevant. It really becomes the engagement, and we're finding that these posts were getting the most engagement. But once we kind of dug deeper and we got into the DMs and what have you, the questions that were being asked were about the business posts, but the catalyst for people getting in touch were the nonsense. So we went into the nonsense side because that was bringing people into business for us. And I've just done that ever since, So no great strategy, but just speak as you will. I mean, the big thing about LinkedIn and about anywhere else is honesty, and the big advantage that people who run their own business on LinkedIn, as opposed to perhaps yourself, Ryan, perhaps a lot of other accountants who are almost in a kind of corporate side of things. They work in a big firm. Everything's got to be kind of sanitized, and it ends up being corporate beige nonsense that nobody's listening and nobody's reading, and it provides zero effect. It's like when 15 years ago every firm had the budget cards that you used to get.
Yeah, we've still got them.
I was really well. There you go. I didn't even know that this. I wasn't sure they still existed, to be honest. So and they were so ubiquitous that nobody knew anything about the provider of them. So you can never imagine anybody saying, "Oh, I need to think about changing my accountant." Who was the guy that gave me that tiny wee fold out thing? So you've got to start. Basically, what I'm saying is you've got to stand out, and for me to stand out amongst the people who are fairly active on LinkedIn, and don't get me wrong, there's a fair amount of people who have the same strategy, which is a kind of loose term, but I wouldn't say it was an actual strategy. Is just to kind of to say what you think, and if it means annoying people, I was going to swear there. If it means getting on people's nerves a wee bit, well, so be it. The point is that it brings business,
Yeah, I guess I shouldn't be surprised if bringing you on here that you may swear, seeing some of your posts on LinkedIn. But yeah, I think how I summarise this is that you're being you, possibly an exaggerated version of yourself at times, which we do on social media.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly. But and you say you didn't really have much of a plan, but you cracked it. The main thing about LinkedIn is that you take a picture of a leaf and that gets the most views you've ever had. But you actually talk about something sensible in which you can help people, and you get 5 people that like it. So it's balancing those, and it drives the numbers. Do the picture of the leaf, it drives the numbers for the sensible post, and as long as you do that in a systematic way, it can work. And I'm lucky enough to have some freedom to be able to talk about what I want to, and as you can probably see in most of my posts and comments, I tend to do that, which is great. But yeah, it's always, you have to be balanced, and you have to find your market, and you attract the people that think and want to act like you. But we've gone very much down social media at this point, and this is about tech, so we should probably dive into a bit of tech. So, Guy, you said you're a digital firm. Let's talk a little bit about your tech stack. What's, I guess, the main technology you use for your clients?
For my clients, our main technology is Free Agent. As you know, as I've already said, the kinds of business that we work on tend to be 1, 2, 3-man bands in service industries rather than retail or anything that tends to hold stock, or that you have a kind of, basically our clients raise invoices, so that puts us in the service industry, and while we all know about Xero, we all know about QBO and so forth, we landed on Free Agent again probably about 10 years ago. I would like to say it was a serendipitous meeting or what have you, but I can't remember what happened, if I'm being perfectly honest. But I think Free Agent probably identified us as being in the same space as them, and they said, let's have a conversation. We were the first, I believe it's platinum partner. I can't remember what the levels are or anything like that. Yeah. We were the first platinum partner in Scotland, and we've held that accolade ever since.
Wow, congratulations.
In addition to, thanks. It's not for everybody, Free Agent, but it works perfectly for our clients. I think in addition to Free Agent, we also use Xero for, I mentioned the other kind of clients that we deal with. We use Xero for a lot of those because the reporting's better. But Free Agent is the kind of hub of the business.
Yeah, so a lot of your clients then using NatWest, do you kind of direct them down that route so they get the system for free?
Aye, well, it's Metal that we drive them down to, which is basically, it's the NatWest app-based account, which is pretty good. I mean, everybody wants an app-based account these days, so, well, most people do anyway. And I mean, trying to get a bank account on the high street's a challenge because there isn't any banks in the high street. So we tend to look at the most popular ones tend to be Metal, Monzo, and Starling. For us, it's better if the client goes to Metal, if I'm being perfectly honest. We include the Free Agent subscription in our client's monthly fee. So if they go to Metal, then we don't pay for it. So it's not a huge saving, but it saves us 13 quid a month or something, and a steady drop fills a pail,
Yeah, and I do think that's always the best route. And I always advise breaking it out, because then if there is an increase in that fee at any point, you don't have to worry about absorbing that or the difficult conversations with your clients or having to re-quote for everything. You just, next fee has gone up. This kind of makes sense. So I hopefully, because what I've been seeing from a Free Agent perspective, they're doing a lot at the moment. They're developing a lot. The tech's kind of booming. Are you feeling that? Are you kind of feeling the positive?
Yep. We were at the Platinum Partners event in, I think it was Manchester Hall, funnily enough, in Manchester last month, and they were kind of showcasing what they've done in the last year, which is quite a lot of changes and so forth, and also kind of predicting and letting us know what's going to be happening in the next the next year or so. I think what their focus tends to be is to, as we discussed, that we've kind of broadened our client base to reach different kinds of businesses. I think that's kind of what they're trying to get towards as well, because obviously the Free Agent was developed for contractors by contractors in actual fact, and it was really a contractor tool. And it has been really it continues to be, but it was almost exclusively that for kind of a decade, but they're now recognising, obviously, well, presumably that certainly being owned by the NatWest group, they're now having to perhaps broaden their base. So I think that's what's driving the changes to free agent at the moment.
Yeah, and I think they're making a difference. Like, you can tell that it's how would I describe it? It's getting good positive reactions. There's some where a system will release a new bit of functionality and one goes, "Oh, what's the point of that?" But actually, with the free agent releases, people are like, "This looks really good." It's constantly and building traction. So yeah, I think being on the free agent boat, as you wish, is definitely positive at the moment.
One of the changes that they made in the last year was that they introduced a landlord's free agent, if you like. So people who have buy-to-let mortgages, it's a module that's perfect for them. At the time, I thought, well, I'm not very sure that's really worth putting effort into, because it's a niche really, and the main product could handle it fairly well as well. But we of course forgot about many of our contractor freelancer clients, consultant clients have BTLs on the side. And it was very good because you just threw them back into that, and then that's another one taken care of, So in fairness, it was one of those where I thought it was a very good. I thought it was a pretty pointless idea, but it turned out to be a pretty good one. Another thing that free agent really lean into is their app, their mobile app, which we, funnily enough, found that our clients, there's not an awful lot of traction for that for our clients for some reason. We don't know. I've spoken to my guy at free agent, and we've kind of tried to analyse the numbers and the figures. We don't know why, but we are significantly behind the pack in terms of engagement with the app. Don't know why that is. You look at the app; it's pretty good. You do your invoicing, you match your bank invoice, your bank transactions, and you can do your expenses, which are the three modules that people really care about in free agent. And for some reason, I don't know, but our clients just didn't seem to be into
maybe
that.
It's a Scottish thing. So like you hate apps up there.
It could be that. It could be. Yeah. Probably the problem is you take your phone out your pocket and it's going to get rained on.
Yeah, that's true. It instantly breaks. So okay, let's I guess bring this to a bit of a close. And what do you use internally? Like, what's the tech that you use for practice management and I guess running the business?
Well, Centre was as continues to be our practice management solution. We're looking at Client Engager. We had a trial for that for the last 2 months, and I thought that because of the time, February and March would be quite quiet, we'll be able to have a look at it. We didn't really manage to get through much of it, but I don't know. You probably know of Client Engager and Johan and Andy.
Yeah.
I think it's a great product, and we will move on to that eventually, but it's just the thought of moving the whole practice management's it's terrifying, really. Aye. So, but I mean, certainly in terms of the evaluation, we evaluated Client Engager, Accountancy Manager, and another one, Pixie, was it maybe?
Okay.
And Client Engager fit the bill for us at the moment. But we're going to have to stick with Centre until we get to a stage where this can be done without any pain. Again, Centre was another one that we got involved in at the very start. Again, it was free. It was through free agent that we got involved in. Great setup. I like the guys. It worked a treat for us. Obviously, it's now part of Iris, which is probably less attractive to us at the moment. In terms of our filing and what have you, we use Tax Filer, which is also now part of Iris. So
yeah, well, they've kind of been buying up lots of products, haven't they? And then
I know.
Not necessarily developing them in the way that they were developed previously, which is a frustration for lots that are on board.
That's the thing. I believe that Centre is going to be, is it deprecated? Is that the word that you tech guys use? That it's going to be kind of...
I hope you didn't just say defecated. It
No.
sounded a bit different in my ears, but yeah. Well, I just say made redundant, right? It's going to be got rid of. Archived. But yeah, so there's lots of the Irish products that they're consolidating down into like a single product over time, and we expect to see that over the next 3 years. But no, it's really interesting to see that, and definitely a big shout out for Joanne and Andy, what they're doing with Client Engager.
100%,
It looks really good. Yeah, massive work on that. So like, I do wonder, Alan, if at some point we should be doing some sort of grumpy old men or old accountants, podcast on its own. Maybe there's some traction there. But I love what you do on LinkedIn. I love what you bring. The realism, the truth, the hard hitting, no nonsense posts, and I'll be continuing to follow you. So, yeah, if anyone is watching this and they aren't connected with Alan on LinkedIn, I probably would advise doing that just for the humour that goes alongside it. But no, thanks, mate, and thanks for coming on. So I think that's a perfect place to kind of wrap up this week's show. Hopefully, this episode has provided you that are listening with valuable insights that you can take away and utilise internally, even if it's just giving you insights in what you can do with Free Agent and how to potentially become a platinum partner with them. Please do check out the show notes for links to anything that we've discussed, including digital disruptors and SP Digital. And if you do want to ensure you catch future episodes, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel and look out for the release every Thursday morning. Look forward to speaking to you next week.